Welcome back to Q&A number 3. Remember, if you've got a question for an upcoming episode, you can leave them in the comments, tweet them at me, or send me a message through Facebook. Let's answer some of your questions. Can you do some bass demos? We'd love to see you shred on bass. No, you don't. Trust me, no one wants to see that. I am a god-awful bass player, like one of the ones that Glenn Fricker likes to crap on. I really only play bass for the gear demo tracks and for acoustic covers, and even then, it's basically only root notes. Never say never, but probably not anytime soon. Favorite guitar and favorite artists? I feel like I covered this in the first FAQ. My all-time favorite guitar is my ESP Eclipse 2. I love the shape, it sounds awesome, and the setup is just perfect. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like I'm even playing a guitar. Favorite artist is kind of vague, so I'll do top 5. My favorite in no particular order is Metallica, Alter Bridge, Lamb of God, Blackstone Cherry, and Pre-Vengeance Falls Trivium. Matt Heafy is one of my favorite riff writers and lyricists. Couldn't really get into the last 2 albums, but I can listen to Shogun and In Waves on repeat forever. But yeah, those are my top 5. Most influential guitarists? Clearly always been more into the rhythm, riff, groove, songwriting thing more than I've been into face-melting solos. I play with a lot of palm mutes and pretty much downpick whenever possible, and that all comes from when I first picked up the guitar and I pretty much wanted to write and play like James Hetfield. I bought the Metallica Cunning Stunts DVD back in the day, and I mean, he was just the coolest. The riffs were badass, but it was more than that. It was the way in which he played them, the intensity that I thought was just awesome. A lot of my playing is with my right hand, triplets and such, and my left hand movement is generally more horizontal, like up and down the fretboard, than it is vertical, like up and down the strings, if that makes sense. And I get a lot of that from Mark Morton and Willie Adler from Lamb of God. I just think they have some of the coolest, grooviest riffs in all of metal, and I mean, you see bands tune lower and lower to get more brutal. Meanwhile, most of the riffs on Ashes of the Wake, Sacrament, and Wrath are all in drop D, and they kick so much ass. So I'd learned those riffs by watching them play, and I'd try to incorporate that groove mentality into my own writing, and that playing style just kind of stuck. What strings do you use? Cleartones and only Cleartones. Their treated strings are awesome. I used to use Ernie Ball Slinkies, the ones in pink packaging, because who doesn't start with Ernie Balls? But I didn't like that sometimes even after less than a week, they would kind of lose that bright chime that you get with new strings. Especially since I have a few guitars, it kind of sucks when I put on a new set of strings, and by the next time I get to play that guitar, the strings are already dead. Well, not quite dead, but they don't feel new. Cleartones I can put on, I don't have to change them for a few months, and I know that the next time I pick up that guitar, the strings will still feel like they have a lot of life left in them. That, and they're a good deal louder than the Ernie Balls. For standard up to drop C sharp, I like the 9s. Lately I've been getting more into the drop B tuning zone, and for those I like the 10s. Thoughts on the Ibanez RG Prestige? Honestly, don't have any because I've never played one. The only RG I've played was this, I guess, entry-level RG, and to be honest, it wasn't that great. It was badly set up, I don't think the owner had ever changed the strings, and the pickups were straight garbage. I keep meaning to try out a higher tier Ibanez. I hear they're really good. I keep getting asked these questions and I want to have an answer, but they've never really appealed to me, so every time I go into the store, I always get distracted by the ESPs and the Gibsons. I also really dislike fingerboard radiuses above 12 inches, and I think the RGs have something like a 16-inch radius, so I'm probably not the right person to ask anyway. Tonewood and distortion, myth or reality? Nope. Fuck that question. Actually, you know what? Whatever. Let's go ahead and lose some subs. I think that Ola covered this a few weeks ago, and my answer is going to be pretty similar to his. To sum it up, there's an ongoing debate as to whether the tone of an electric guitar is affected by the wood that it's made out of. Some people say yes, some people say no, and when they disagree, it gets ugly in the comment section. You may have seen this, and if you're wondering why it's such a big deal, the answer is I have no idea. It just seems to be one of those things that trigger people, and to make things worse, there is no universally proven and accepted answer. I didn't even know this is such a shitstorm until I mentioned in the Epiphone Bjorn Galotzig video that I wished that it had a maple cap for that added brightness. And one of you trolls asked me if I could hear that tone difference with my head so far up my ass. Talk about a rude introduction. We could talk about how different wood species have different densities and how density affects resonant frequencies and how much the human ear can actually distinguish, but you can Google all that, so I'm just gonna talk about my personal experience. My personal experience is yes, wood does have a slight effect on tone, more so on cleans, less so when distorted, but definitely has an influence when it comes to how a guitar feels. Especially with palm mutes, I find that the wood can impact how, for lack of a better term, crunchy a guitar sounds and feels. For example, I find that guitars with maple caps have nice levels of crunchiness with any bridge, but guitars that are made from all mahogany generally need a higher quality bridge with higher quality saddles to achieve the same level of said crunchiness. That being said, this is just my personal experience, and there are a lot more factors than just body wood that contribute a lot more to the pure recorded tone of an electric guitar. No idea if that answered your question or not, but there's my answer. Okay, I think that'll do it for this month's Q&A. Just a quick reminder, YouTube's subscription notification system is a little messed up, so make sure to turn on alerts by clicking the little bell by my subscriber count. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome. I've been Hunter, and I'll see you for the next video.